Hey there, so you're considering a move to Central Florida? Well, don't, we're full, there's no more room. I'm just kidding, guys. Central Florida is an awesome place to call home. As a Florida native, I'm gonna share the 9 things that I think you should know before moving to the Winter Haven area. And stay tuned till the end for my 3 bonus tips that I think you'll find useful. I've been selling real estate in Florida for over 10 years. So if you have any questions about real estate, feel free to leave them in the comments below. You can book a call with me or contact me at the information I'll put in the description. Winter Haven is located in Central Florida, roughly an hour from both Tampa and Orlando, including theme parks and its international airports. This gives you easy access to big city living while enjoying smaller town life with its lower cost of living. At Haven Realty and Investments, we get a lot of calls from people considering our area for relocation. You can get a hold of us on Facebook, here on YouTube, or use my contact information down below and give us a call. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have that aren't covered in these videos. Our central location in the state gives you plenty of options for staycations, as well as day trips to the beach, amusement parks, outdoor entertainment, concert venues, and so much more. Now I'm going to kind of get into our 9 tips that I think you'll find useful. Tip number 1, the highway systems are outdated. They are not designed to handle the population that we currently have. Roads, especially like I-4, 95, 75, have very heavy traffic. If it says that it might be a 10-mile drive, that could take you 30 minutes. So you want to use an app like Waze or Google Maps, something that'll factor in traffic when you're trying to go somewhere so you can have an actual idea of real travel time until you get the hang of it. Tip number 2 is going to be watch out for bad drivers. We just need everybody to put their phones down and drive. There are wrecks all the time, especially on the major roads. You just need to be careful, be safe, wear your seatbelts, pay attention to surroundings, and put your phone down. Tip number 3 is gonna be seasonal allergies. Down here in Florida, we have a ton of pollen in the air, tons of pollen in the air. It's even a factor on the nightly news. They're gonna tell you what it's gonna look like tomorrow. Something like Zyrtec D, Allegra, something you might need to watch out for if you are sensitive. Overall, we have fairly good air quality, but you do need to be aware of the seasonal allergies and the pollen that comes in. All right, tip number 4 is hurricanes. We have them. You've probably heard about them where you live, watching us go through them. Hurricanes can be a scary weather event, but you generally have time to prepare. They are tracked for weeks, and you generally have days to get ready as the cone narrows in on where it's going to hit. So what really gets you in trouble is when a storm rapidly intensifies. The last one that I can remember that has done this was Michael. It hit up in the Panhandle. I think it was around, I forget where it was around, but it was like a category 1, no big deal. Everybody went to bed, woke up next morning, and there's a borderline category 5 steaming up the Gulf of Mexico, making landfall in the Panhandle, and it just annihilated everybody. I like to follow Mike's weather page on Facebook. He tells you what's going on, what he thinks. He's not a meteorologist, but he's entertaining, and he shows you the information, and you can make an informed decision. Being inland here in Central Florida, 60, 80 miles, also means the storm is weakened significantly before it gets to our area. So most of what we have as issues is down trees due to sustained winds, which hits power lines, and some localized flooding. Most locals will go grab some beer, settle in, and have a hurricane party. Tip number 5 is the weather. You got to watch out because it is hot. You need sunscreen. You need to stay hydrated, and don't overdo it outdoors. We do have afternoon showers, and it can be a beautiful blue sunny day, and then all of a sudden you get a huge rainstorm, downpours, last 10, 20 minutes, and then it's right back to bright blue skies, and now it's steamy hot because everything's wet. So you need to be careful about that. If you're not used to it, wear sunscreen, stay hydrated, take time out in the shade or go indoors, especially if you are doing landscaping or yard work, which is a later tip. We'll get that in just a minute. All right, guys, tip number 6 is some of the homes need updating. A lot of the homes in our areas that were built in the 60s and 70s have not been updated over the years. Some of them, they're 40, 50 years old. They've only been renovated once, maybe not even at all. If you're not buying new construction, you may want to budget for a remodel, kitchen, bathrooms, maybe floors, just depends on your personal preference. Tip number 7 is you may become a vacation destination for your out-of-town friends and family. When they're down in Florida, they're gonna call you, say, hey, we're in town, we wanna come hang out. So you make sure you size your house appropriately. You may wanna get something a little smaller so there's no room for overnight guests, or you may wanna have room for overnight guests. So plan that out ahead of time. You're also gonna wanna consider that a lot of those people that are on vacation are gonna come down and they may be day drinking while you're trying to work. So you do wanna consider that as well. They're on vacation, it's 12 o'clock, might be time for a cold beer before they go hit the beach. So they're gonna want you to go on vacation with them. So you need to just consider that. That's just a little tip. People are in town, they are in your area, they're excited, they're on vacation. You're used to it because you've lived here for a little bit now, but that is something that you do wanna consider. All right, tip number 8 is the yard work. You are going to be taming a jungle that your yard can become because it rains, that we talked about earlier, and the sun that we also talked about earlier. So if you love landscaping and gardening, you're gonna love it. You can garden just about year round. Landscaping, same thing. We don't get frost here very much. We do get some frost. We don't freeze here. No snow, obviously, so it's basically a year-round gardening and growing season. If lawn care is not for you, you may want to look into a lawn service or maybe a townhome or condo association where they handle that for you. All right, guys, tip number 9, and I thought about not putting this in, leaving it out because I'm not trying to run you off, just trying to warn you, the bugs and the pests. We do have bugs, we do have pests. We have large bugs, palmetto bugs. They are, this big, they have wings, they can fly. So you're gonna wanna keep your house treated for bugs. Outside, they're just gonna be here. They were here before we were, and they'll be here after we are gone. So you just wanna consider that. Something else to watch out for is termites, especially if you're buying a wood frame home. You're gonna wanna get a WDO inspection, which is a wood destroying organism inspection. Covers termites, covers mold, covers water damage. Big things here from our previous tips, including the weather and the rain. Termites cause significant damage to the wood in your home. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year problem that just happens. You're probably also going to run into some spiders. Literally, you might run into some spiders. They build these huge, beautiful webs trying to catch their dinner. And if you walk outside, you might take a hard turn and there's a spider web. So just be aware of that as well. Daddy long legs, you'll probably see some of those creeping around on the walls outside. You're also gonna see some lizards and geckos. You might see a big lizard out there, 4 or 5 inches long, doing push-ups, throwing a little flap out on his neck that's orange and yellow. He's just showing all the girls that he's a big guy in town. He's, doing push-ups. It's kind of cute. I like watching them. So again, Florida may not be for you if you're afraid of bugs, but come on down. You can probably get over your fear because the weather's great and the bugs are just a small little thing. Also gonna wanna watch out for gators, but they're more scared of you than you are of them. So just stay out of the shallow, murky water. You'll be all right with that. We'll go over gators in another video. All right, guys, you've made it through my 9 tips. Before moving to Central Florida, I'm going to give you my bonus tips now. For tip number one is tinted windows. It's legal here, so you can get your car's windows tinted, including the front windows. So you're gonna wanna have that done, or at least heavily consider it. Because if you run to Publix to get your pub sub, you come back in, get in your car, it's gonna be 3,000 degrees in there. So a good window tint with UV protectant is gonna keep your car a lot cooler. You'll feel a difference immediately. If you're moving down here and you've got a friend with tint, or if I'm showing you a house, you can get in my truck and you can feel the difference on the windows that are tinted and not tinted. There is a huge temperature difference. You're gonna burn your legs off jumping in on a leather seat in your swimsuit, going out on the boat or something, coming back with your pub sub and your cold beer. So consider that. Tip number 1, get your windows tinted. All right, guys, tip number 2 is you're gonna wanna buy a generator. There's a couple different options here. You can buy a whole house generator if you have natural gas or bring in propane, or you can get one Home Depot or Lowe's that'll run your refrigerator, your freezer, TV, some fans, some lights and stuff like that. You'll regret not having it when a hurricane comes through and you're without power for a couple days. I went without power for 9 days after Hurricane Irma came through a couple years ago, and we had a generator and it was still not good, but I could not imagine 9 days of no power here in Florida in the summer. It was not good. We were going to friends' houses with pools that had power, with a shower, sitting in the air conditioner. You know, it's fun at first, it's kind of like you're camping, then it just turns into a nightmare. I don't recommend it. You can even have if you don't do the whole home generator, you can have a electrician wire in your critical loads. It's a little bit expensive to set that up, especially a whole house generator, but going through one hurricane without a generator, you are not gonna wanna go through another one. So tip number 2, that's a really big one. Been there, done that. I could talk about that for a long time, as you can tell. Get you a generator, have it ready. Tip number 3 is make friends with boats. That is a insider tip that will save you a ton of money. Get a friend with a boat. There's lakes everywhere. If you're going over to the coast, going out to the sandbar, if you do make friends with a boat, always offer to bring food, bring waters, bring drinks, and help pay for fuel. It's expensive to own a boat. It's expensive to maintain a boat. There's just a lot of expenses that you don't think about. Gas is very expensive when you're running around on a lake because you don't get 15, 20, 30 miles to the gallon on a boat. Sometimes it's 1 mile to the gallon. So consider that when you're making friends and they have boats. If you do get invited out, be an asset and help them cover fuel. All right, guys, I hope this helps you with your decisions on moving here to Central Florida. Even with the negatives, I love living here. I don't have to shovel snow and we don't pay state income taxes. Those are 2 big, huge pros in my opinion. And people pay to vacation here. You might even come here, vacationed, and decided you wanted to buy a second home or relocate here. It happens all the time. We have 1,000 people a day moving here to Central Florida. A lot of those in Central Florida because we have the big attractions and the lower cost of living. It's a great place to live. So give me a call when you're ready to talk about moving here to Central Florida. Phone number is 863-333-5053, or leave me a comment down below. You can sign up to see these homes that we do have available on my website, havenrealtyfl.com. There will also be a link down below for that. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped. And again, if you do have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll get right back to you, or find us on Facebook. Call me, text me. All of my contact information is in the description. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.